Hi, so this 2025, you've made up your mind that you're going to buy that land. You've done all your research as well as due diligence by checking the size of the land, the location of the land, who is selling the land, even gone further to the Lands Commission to conduct a search on the land or the parcel of land you intend to get, and everything came out positive. Well, it's now time for you to make payment for the land. What if I tell you you don't have to pay with cash for that land? Yes, so before I tell you why, let me just give you a quick story to that so we can understand why you don't have to pay cash for any parcel of land that you're buying. So you realize that sometime last year we got a land, decided to start a car wash business, which I must say is going on well, pretty well. It hasn't been bad so far. Then aside that, we've had further plans on doing something even bigger aside the car wash. So that caused for us to be able to get some few plots of land in addition to that. And also, it has to be by the roadside. Yes. So then we go back to the same owner who apparently happens to have a lot more portions of land available around that same location. And the catches, they are all close to the roadside. So we go back, try to, negotiate about this land. And you know what? Actually, the price of the land has also increased just because we started a car wash there, which has affected the cost of land. How interesting that is. Anyway, so we had back and forth, discussions or negotiations to be able to come up with something that works for both of us. And well, we're able to land on something. Although it wasn't entirely favorable, but the good thing about land is with time, it appreciates. So you can't lose when, you invest in land. So we agreed on a certain amount. Then came the time for us to make payment. We also had a payment plan that we agreed to go with. So that was sort of like a 1-year payment plan to be able to cover for that portions of land that we're looking at. So we had to make part of the payment sometime last year around November. That was the first payment. Then time came sometime in January. The owner contacted me requesting for some of the payment. He said he was going to use for medical surgery. Well, I thought, yes, medical surgery is a bit urgent, so I had to try my best to be able to get some of the money for him. Then after that, he passed on, unfortunately. May he so rest in peace. So then, apparently, before he passed on, he had gathered his some of his kids to inform them that he had a deal with us, and this was the total amount. I think he didn't mention the total amounts that we agreed on. That was one. Which also, I have to say that whenever you're going to go into agreement with anyone regarding land or anything, it shouldn't just be a verbal agreement. Unfortunately, we didn't document that particular agreement, but the good thing was we had witnesses who were both there when we were having those discussions. So it wasn't like myself against the owner, but we had third parties who were part of the conversation. But try as much as possible whenever you're going to have conversations, especially about land, or you are going to have agreement with somebody about land, try as much as possible to document it. It shouldn't just be verbal discussion or verbal agreement. Try to document it, put your signature to it, let the person also have his or her signature to it so that you have a working document you're working with. We didn't do that, but I've learned from it. Next time I'll do better. So that passed. I made a first payment and then I made a second payment. Now, before he passed on, he told his kids about the first payments that I had made to him, or they knew about it, but he wasn't able to mention that of the second payment that I had done, which one was on a set date sometime in January. So after he passed on, he happens to be a Muslim, so he was buried just the next day after he had passed on. So I think some few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks passed, and then I was contacted by one of his kids that he wanted to have a meeting with us regarding the land that we came to their dad, to get. So we met, we discussed whatever the agreement was, and then how, we planned or agreed to go about the payment plan. They accepted the payment plan. They were okay with that. But what they didn't know about was the second payment I made. So the good thing was that I didn't make any of these payments with cash. Yes, I made all these payments through the bank transfer. So then I had a proof to show that I had made this second payment on this said date to their dad. And that was as a result of a bank statement, just simply printing out a bank statement. Or even if you use a bank app, you can just check those transaction history or even, from your SMS. Once you make payments or transfers to anyone from your bank app, you get an SMS notification or even an email notification that shows that you've made this transfer. So what made it easier to come to agreement to know whatever total that has been paid was as a result of the bank transfer that was done, that we had a receipt to show for it. So imagine maybe the first transfer we did it through bank transfer, and then the second one we give cash, or even the first one we give cash, which maybe he had acknowledged and told his kids about it, but the second one we decided to give cash and he wasn't able to mention that because of maybe his condition. Then that is going to be very, very difficult to show any proof of. Even if you had somebody there as a witness, it still be very difficult if they say, well, they weren't there, they weren't informed, this is what their dad told them, so then that is what they're going to go by. And imagine this are not small sums of money. Land around this time of the year is expensive, irrespective of wherever it is. So if you're investing in land, you have to try as much as possible to do things right, so that you don't fall victim to people stealing, running away with your money, or selling land that has litigation, among others, to you. So this is why I say, if you are going to be buying land this year and from this year ongoing, try as much as possible not to pay cash. Very important. No matter who you may have around as your witness, no matter whatever agreement you've had and the rest, if you make a bank transfer or even through mobile money or any electronic means without bank transfer through mobile money, you have a receipt to show. Right now, I can go through my mobile money and print receipt or statement for transactions that I performed as far back as 4 or 5 years ago. Yes, but if I'd paid cash, I could have taken photos. Now, AI, with the emergence of AI, they tell everything is possible. They tell you it could have been fabricated, or it could have been an AI generated and the rest. Even if it's with voice you recorded during that particular period, they could tell you in the law court that, well, it could have been done with AI. But if it's from the bank, although it can be altered, but it's very difficult to do that. So because then the bank, I'm checking from my side, I'm checking, the person is also checking from his or her side, and we'll actually go ahead to confirm that indeed on this said date, Kofi or Kwame made payment to this person, and this is the amount involved. And even the good thing about some of these things is that whenever I'm making transfer payment, you have a section that has a reference to it. So you can input a reference. What is the payment for? You state that, oh, this payment is for a parcel of land, or a part payment for a land that I'm paying to Asimesi. And all those things are documented. So many years can pass by. So far as those financial institutions are still available, you can always go back, generate a statement from those transactions, and it could serve as a proof of whatever you're talking about. So I hope you take this advice. We are still in the early part of 2025. We have some months to go. Don't try to make any mistake in terms of land acquisition, paying with cash. No, don't do that. If the person insists they want cash, no, try to convince them that it is for both of you, your own good, to pay through an electronic means. This time around, I tried to explain to the owner when he was alive that this is why I want to make payment through the electronic means. And also, because we had bought land for him before, we didn't assume that the other portions of land was his. We still went ahead to do the necessary process. We did a survey for it, got a site plan, we went to the Lands Commission, conducted a search, and it came up positive that, well, those parts of land were still his. So this is my advice to you out there. If you intend making payment for land, and this should not just be about land, it could go beyond land. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be whatever it is. Just try as much as possible to go through a safe means by using an electronic medium, so that when sometime there is any form of dispute, there's any form of challenges or any issue around this particular thing, then you have a proof that says that, well, on this said date, I made payments to you, Asimesi or Bentane, and this is the amount involved, and even this is the purpose of that particular transaction. I hope this helps. In case you have any experience with maybe not going through this medium and it didn't turn out well and the rest, I'll be glad to learn or hear about them in the comment section. Yes, I like to hear experiences about how you've gone about land, maybe in a very smart way, even as aside what I've shared with you. And I hope we all get to learn from it, so that this year we shine our eyes, we do our possible best not to get scammed, not to get duped, and not to have anyone take us for a fool. It's very important because your hard-earned money, it is very important to protect it. So whatever I invest in it, and you have to get value for money. So that will be just about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.